Remember, remember the 5th of November, the gunpowder, treason, and plot. I know of no reason why the gunpowder treason should ever be forgot.
V for Vendetta is one of my favorite films of all time, and a film worth reviewing and analyzing. This originally started out as a school project, but looking back I figured that this would be good material for a video. Oh, by the way, I found out not too long ago that giving away spoilers as a joke is not a very good idea, so I would highly recommend you watch the film first before continuing with this video. As I'm making this video, the film is still on Netflix, so if you have an account, I'd recommend watching the film quickly before they take it down and replace it with Norman of the North or some shit. Seriously, Netflix, why the hell do you do that? V for Vendetta is a film based on a graphic novel, made at a time when comic book films weren't doing very well with the critics.
Everything else in this movie is unbelievably bad. This is a really bad movie.
The only films that had a really good reception with audiences and critics were the first two X-Men and Spider-Man films and Hellboy. Aside from these films, the genre seemed cluttered with bad film after bad film, such as Daredevil, Ang Lee's Hulk, the Fantastic Four films, and Joel Schumacher's Batman films. However, much like how Alan Moore proved that graphic novels can be more than just mindless entertainment for kids, with Watchmen and V for Vendetta, the Wachowski proves to audiences and critics that you can make a film based on a graphic novel that can be taken seriously with their adaptation of Alan Moore's work. And it paved the way for other great comic book films such as Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. Hey, DC Comics. Remember you guys made movies that were actually good? You should start doing that again. The story of the film takes place in a dystopian future where England has been taken over by a conservative dictatorship. The main protagonist of the film is V, a man who is labeled by the government as a terrorist after he does this. Now that's how you introduce your main character. V is committing these acts of violence as revenge against the government for the cruel and unusual treatment he was given. Throughout the film, you never see V's face, so needless to say, this role requires a more vocal and physical performance. And Hugo Weaving completely knocks it out of the park. Every single line from this guy feels like poetry, both literally and figuratively.
Voila! In view, a humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, is a vestige of the vox populi, now vacant, vanished. However, this valorous visitation of a bygone vexation stands vivified, and has vowed to vanquish these venal and virulent vermin, vanguarding vice and vouchsafing the violently vicious and voracious violation of volition. The only verdict is vengeance.
When I hear V's voice, I don't hear Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith, or Elrond. I hear V, an anarchist hell-bent on revenge and taking a stance against the government. Natalie Portman plays Evie, a down-to-earth civilian that's caught in the middle of all this chaos. Her character is pretty easy to relate to, which makes the scenes where she's being tortured a lot more powerful on an emotional level. John Hurt plays Adam Sutler, the dictator of England. What I find interesting is that John Hurt also played the main protagonist in the film adaptation of George Orwell's 1984, a novel that V for Vendetta drew a great amount of inspiration from. John Hurt has proven himself to be a great actor, and this role requires him to pose as a dominant threat whenever he's up on a podium giving speeches or on a communication stream talking to his henchmen.
To fail is to invite doubt into everything we believe, everything that we have fought for. Doubt will plunge this country back into chaos, and I will not let that happen. Gentlemen, I want this terrorist found, and I want him to understand what terror really means. England prevails. Yes.
However, when his right-hand man, Mr. Creedy, turns on him and brings him to V, John Hurt's performance completely changes on him and he turns into a whimpering coward fearful of his inevitable demise. It's just so satisfying to see someone build himself as this big evil tyrant, just to have that image come crashing down on him when the people who do the real work turn on him and he's reduced to this.
Goodbye, Chancellor. Mr. Creedy.
Disgusting.
One of the things I've always admired about this film is how it's able to show just how easy it is for a government to become corrupt, by showing images that symbolize human atrocities that were committed by other governments, including our own throughout history. In one shot of the film, we see a pile of dead bodies covered with limestone. Anyone would be able to look at this scene and be reminded of the Holocaust, since that is the exact treatment that the Jewish victims of the Third Reich got after they died. However, when I saw this scene again, I thought back to a scene in Full Metal Jacket where our soldiers did the same thing to the Vietnamese during the Vietnam War. A war in which American soldiers reportedly went after innocent civilians and burnt down villages. When we see V in prison, we're given these images that resemble the Abu Ghraib pictures from 2003. For those of you that don't remember this is when members of the United States Army unlawfully abused prisoners of the Iraq War. Another thing I find interesting about this film is how the media in this future works. It's really not that much different from how the news works in our time, in the sense that the media is less concerned with giving people the news in an honest manner, and instead are more concerned with saying what politicians want to hear and what other people to think. One line from the film that always sticks with me when I hear it is when a news reporter says this.
You think people will buy this?
Why not? This is the BTN. Our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job.
Throughout the film, the news station BTN is working with the government to lie to its people so they don't feel the need to be politically active. For example, they use the footage of them shooting a decoy to convince the people that V is dead. This type of news fabrication is the reason why most people who are politically active don't trust the talking heads on Fox News, MSNBC, or CNN. The only difference is that these people seem to plant fear in the minds of their viewers in order to get better ratings. When the Ebola virus hit the US, there was a lot of fear and misinformation being spread within the US media. People thought the virus was spread nationwide, when in reality only 2 people were infected and they were both quarantined. Believe it or not, it actually took Shep Smith of all people to come out in the open and say, hey, look, we all need to calm the fuck down.
Do not listen to the hysterical voices on the radio and the television or read the fear-provoking words online. The people who say and write hysterical things are being very irresponsible.
Yeah, someone from Fox News is taking a stance against fear-mongering. I mean, that's like Alex Jones coming out and saying, listen guys, conspiracy theories are bullshit. 9/11 was not an inside job, lizard people aren't real, and gay frogs, well, actually they exist.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
There's also a character in the film named Louis Prothero, who is a celebrity news anchor who hosts a show that is basically England propaganda. When this character appears on the screen, I can't help but think of news celebrities such as Bill O'Reilly, Rush Limbaugh, and that guy from the Young Turks. You know, the kind of news anchor who you'd think would be able to approach politics in a rational manner, considering that's the job of a real reporter, but instead are less concerned with reporting the news and more concerned with sputtering out emotionally charged rants that don't even make sense half the time.
Immigrants, Muslims, homosexuals, terrorists, disease-ridden degenerates. They had to go. They have discovered that Obama does have slave blood. Strength through unity. Unity through faith. I'm a God-fearing Englishman, and I'm goddamn proud of it.
Tide goes in, tide goes out. Never miscommunication. You can't explain that.
I'm looking at the tape right now, and he has no idea how to like me. My nose looks like Big fucking Ben.
We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live! I'll write it, and we'll do it live!
See, it's called
not entitlements, one program.
What do you want to yell at?
Because you're lying.
I'm not lying.
You are lying here.
His emotions might have gotten the better of it.
All you do is lie. You're known as the biggest liar in media. We're against Saudi Arabia, you dumbass. We talk about that all the time. Oh, really? We talk about that all the time. You don't know shit.
Listen to you bleeding sod. England prevails because I say it does.
I care about the American people.
Find another DOP or find yourself another job.
The film makes the statement that despite the way these type of men present themselves, their job is to only report the news and not be actual activists. Throughout the film, Lewis boasts about how he wishes he caught the terrorist V and what he would have done if he caught him.
I wish I'd been there. I wish I'd had the chance for a face-to-face.
But you want to know what happens when Lewis is given the opportunity?
Holy Christ! Jesus!
Good evening, Commander Prothero.
Oh my God, how did you get in here?
Don't worry, I've made sure our reunion won't be disturbed by any pesky late-night phone calls. Commander.
Stop that. Why do you keep calling me that?
That was your title, remember? When we first met all those years ago. You wore a uniform in those days.
You. It is you.
The ghost of Christmas past.
Another great scene in the film is when a talk show host decides to write a skit for a show that not only makes fun of the situation with the terrorist V, but also makes fun of Adam Sandler himself.
I am your the terrorists! I order you to shoot the traitor! Liar! Faker! Fraud! Ready! Aim! Fire!
Oh man, a bureaucrat getting butthurt over what a comedian says about them? That's never happened before.
When are we going to be willing to say, you know, some things just aren't really funny?
No, I agree with you. Look, this guy McFarlane who did this, is a hater, makes a lot of money for Fox, but I think there should be some standards sometime, but apparently there aren't.
Well, to be fair, it's not like Sarah Palin sent the government over to beat the living shit out of people like Seth MacFarlane. Well, not yet anyway. The film also deals with themes of culmination. The film makes a point that every major event in history is building up to a revolution against the government. It all started with V blowing up Old Bailey just to grab the attention of the people of England. And after that, the culmination of events really started to kick off when V hijacked BTV News and gave a speech about what's wrong with the government, planting the idea of distrusting the government onto the citizens. V explains this theme of culmination to the detectives, and it's symbolically represented in the domino scene. The film also presents the theme of being reborn into another version of yourself. We never truly know who or what type of person V was before he was V. We only know that the government turned him into the cold, fearless, vengeful anarchist that we know of in the film. Evie goes through a similar transformation when she gets captured by the government. After she's captured, the government tries to torture her every day into revealing the location of V. However, after Evie refuses to reveal the location and accepts her death, it is revealed that it was V who was torturing her the whole time. V did this to prove to Evie that she can endure anything the government throws at her, and to rebirth her as someone fearless.
Got us in the rain.
When I first saw V for Vendetta as a kid, back then I just saw it as a fun action film made by the guys who made The Matrix. I decided to watch the film again a couple of years later, and I was stunned by how much better it was now that I was older. Each time I watch this film, I pick up on something new. Whether it's something small in the story that I didn't notice before, or some imagery that reminds me of either world history or current issues that we face in this country today. Films such as V for Vendetta gave me an appreciation for stories involving a dystopian future that provides social commentary on politics and humanity.